What are you reading? You look very serious.
I'm just reading today's. Oh, I see the output's only NEMA.
Yeah, according to Louis, he checked.
Yeah, I knew the M8 was end of life. They're not making them anymore.
Oh, I didn't know that. So I was surprised because
Yeah,
I have a lot of them around. So the very small ones, the 180s, the BN 180s, till 220s. I tested them all out for the bGeigieZen Nano, and then for the
right.
bGeigieZen Cast and other things. We tried many ways to get this going. And finally, Ray wanted to have the 880, the 880Q, and I did some testing, and they turned out to be one of the better ones.
Right.
But the BE is even better. I mean, I was
Yes.
surprised. Yep.
Oh, yeah. I've seen on multiple posts on the uBlocks forum that comparing the two, that the BE it gets much better results.
Mhm. Is that just a different chip, and they have implemented different hardware, or how does why is the
Well, and they don't have how the BN the M8 chip had a concept of channels, 72 channels.
Mhm.
They don't have that concept anymore. I don't know what they're doing, but they don't have that concept anymore.
No, interesting. Because they're
So
always saying
that's not
72 channels. So it's like, wow.
right.
The Adafruit had 66, and this was 72, and I saw even
Right.
the other versions had 120 somewhere. They were,
Right.
and also I made issues. I was just wondering, maybe it's also useful for the user, for user perspective, to see what kind of satellites you're picking up,
Sure.
which constellation. Is that possible, you think, to do? Because I made an issue, a kind of a request, or we should discuss it.
I At a certain point, I don't know that it matters.
No, I think it
Uh,
doesn't matter, but it's for the user, for the learning experience for the user.
sure.
I think it's a practical thing. Let's say this way, that it become aware. I was even not aware that so many constellations and differences were there. But when we
Right.
started to dig into it, I thought, wow, this is interesting.
Oh yeah, there's lots of
Right.
stuff there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was not
Good morning.
aware. Good morning, Louis.
Remember, 560 pages of good fun, or is it 460, whatever.
So, I mean, the good news is that it can all be captured inside of the teeny uBlocks library. Um, and it just will look at the protocol version and choose how to communicate. But it is a different, it uses, instead of using config message and config port, it uses val get and val set, and val delete. But it's a different approach.
That's
But
probably that's why I'm not seeing the satellite showing up on the
yes, because we
protocol.
can't, because by default it's outputting UBX PVT packets, um, fortunately, but it's not outputting navsat packets because the command to do that is different.
Okay.
So fortunately, by default, you were getting the PVT packets.
Yeah, well, that's good to know. But I don't know if you noticed, I was going through the uBlocks website for documentation, and it looks like the M8s are going out of style.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, not out of style,
so
out of business. They're not making them anymore.
well, that's effectively the same. Anyway, so I think at some point what we have to do is make a project decision of when to switch over, because we really can't. I mean, it's like you're going to have some different, like you have some M8s out there, you're going to have some M10s out there at some point where it's going to get really confusing. So I think we just need to nail it down and keep it that way as long as we can. Otherwise, we're just going to have a big support issue, big maintenance issue.
Is it
So
not possible to have two codes that if it's detected on the M8, it uses the M8 protocol, or M10 it uses It's a lot of work to change that.
Well, no, so the
no.
change,
Yeah.
the
Go
change I'm
ahead, Michael.
proposing is, I say the change I'm proposing is that the library supports both.
Yes.
But going forward, don't, you know, the
Don't
chip
do
that's,
the,
yeah,
thing
they
with
have
the
to use
antenna.
the,
Yeah.
they have to use the BE module
Mhm.
is our recommended module.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the the Zens I sent out so far all have BEs on it. So
Oh, very good.
So we cover
Okay.
that way, except ours. I mean, we still
Okay,
have the
right.
BNs.
Okay, well, that we can live with, and we can eventually flip them over.
Good, I delayed it, or it was delayed, so to send them out. And luckily, we didn't buy so much BNs because I was not aware of the differences, and then I saw the BE, and they look better. I mean, in the sense that it's more white around it.
Oh, okay.
It's cleaner. It's cleaner.
Yeah.
It's just a cleaner antenna.
Well, I don't. The question is the antenna more or less sensitive? That
Yeah, that's important too.
like I mean,
I
it could have.
like a clean machine.
Yeah, but I mean, it could have lizard scales and be a better antenna, and I'd be happy with
Yes,
that.
true. And you can put a sticker on there. Oh no, a sticker would stop it.
No, please don't. Yeah, especially not a foil sticker.
No.
Anyway.
Yeesh.
Okay.
Sorry, I've just got I've got a little visitor here. It's really noisy.
What kind of visitor? Oh,
boy.
that visitor. Oh, it's a heavy one. I can see your
Oh,
legs.
he's a porker. He's very
Wow.
friendly.
Yeah, I can see that.
Oh,
Yeah, like last week or 2 weeks ago, Rob, you had somebody coming up and
Oh yes.
visiting.
But mine is a lighter version of that one. When I saw you lifting up, I can just do nearly one finger. I can lift her up. She's very light.
Yeah, we have one of those too. So on average, you're about the right size.
Okay. Do we know if Yella is coming?
Yeah,
I saw a message. He was updating Zoom, so I don't know if he ran into problems or he should join us shortly.
Okay.
I don't know. Let's see.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, he is there.
Stop it. Sorry, talking to the cat.
Morning, afternoon.
Yeah, hi Yella.
Good afternoon to you.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Much gooder.
Good. Thanks for your fix, Yella, for the at-home fix. I really like gaming at home.
I have no idea why it didn't work before.
I have no idea.
I just changed a few things, like didn't really change the logic, but
no, I saw what you changed and it was kind of nothing.
Yeah, exactly. I'm happy it works now, so
yeah,
that's good.
And I really like the that it changes when the alarm is changing. And I was even thinking, is it possible to make an option for the user to have an alarm, an SMS message go out, or an email going out? That would even be better. That is maybe some work, but very interesting.
I think that would be something for the API then. Like,
I
don't think can it send an email?
I mean, you'd have to. That would be a lot to support.
Yeah.
And the other problem is that a lot of email forwarding basically it's just all the anti-spam measures make it really hard to send email from a single node. So I think the putting it in the API where you can have all those those sender verifications or sender authentication things, that's probably the better place.
Yeah,
I think
if we
if we still send to the API the data and we still need Wi-Fi or internet connection to send it, and even if we were to send an email or an SMS, we still need some connection to the to some internet. So we could add a function in the API that we can call from the device saying, send an email to this user for this and this reason, like maybe alert or maybe some other things like update available or just saying something here. But it would be an option, but it would be on the API side or some
because
other service online.
we used to have something like that on the Pointcast, that you could set alarm on the website, and that would email you. So every Pointcast you could set up, but that was too much hassle to maintain. For every user you have to put in, you have to set the level, you have to explain, and before that should be automatically, and then we kind of abandoned the whole idea.
Well, I'm not sure if the API is getting an overhaul at some point, but it could be that some options could be added to support this. Like if you go to your account in the API, that you can configure some real-time options, and then send me an email when checkbox, inputs, configuration. So
because we can check if the user comes in with data from a user, doesn't matter what device, and then you can email the person. That's correct. And if they say if they mention this device has this level and that device has that level, then
for example.
And that will make sense. Okay, let me think about that. Or make an issue on the API GitHub if somebody wants to pick it up. You never know. The whole idea was to remake the API, but that never happened. We had
I remember something like that. So
ingest is a kind of temporary storage, and then we had to add air to it, and it was much easier to do in ingest. A much better system for that. Okay, what other things should we discuss? Anybody has something you want to talk about?
Manual.
Yes, important part.
So I've been going through as much as I can, just playing with the prototype, trying different things, and trying to document what I see as a user manual, or as what a user would see. Trying to explain it as best as I can. But you'll notice if you go through that Google Doc, there's a lot of double question marks.
Yes.
So if I could, like if you're sitting around looking for something to do, just wander through there and see if you can add to those, or dig in, or give me some hints. And you don't have to do it all. But if you just remember, it's like, oh yeah, there's or it's going to be in that file, so I can go look at that part of the source code and figure out exactly what scale factor or whatever it may be. So that's it's like you're sitting there over breakfast looking at the manual. It's like, oh, I have it.
Over breakfast. I have a 3-hour breakfast normally.
Anyway, so that's the idea here.
Yeah. I did add some things to the fixed chapter.
Okay,
also
great.
a comment. I don't know if you have seen my comment.
Probably. I just can't recall offhand. Let me have a look here.
It was about the screen dimming and the screen.
Oh yeah, okay.
Like screensaver. Like.
Yep.
I only added the comment. I didn't move it. It was basically a description about like after a minute the screen dims, like after 10 minutes the screen goes into screensaver or turns off. You can configure this.
Yeah.
But it was under the fixed mode or the real-time mode chapter, and I was like, well, it's a device general thing. Like it also happens in drive mode. It happens in survey mode. It happens in all modes. So probably better to move it to some general chapter. I hadn't.
Fair enough. Okay, yet. I'll just.
I didn't spend much time on it. I just quickly looked in it, and because I was busy with supporting, somebody was making another kit.
Oh,
for
cool.
Building it and getting directions.
So is that giving you an opportunity to add to the builder manual?
Yes, I changed some things on it.
Cool.
Ultimate.
All right. Okay. That's basically it for me, other than that M8 versus M10 thing. I've got one on order, and I think, Michael, you said you've got one on order as well.
Yes.
So as soon as they come in, we'll give it a spin.
Yeah, that would be useful to get at least the satellite showing up on display
Right.
on the sense I built. That would be
Right. So I have my debug tools, and so what I'm going to do is in my emulator, I'm going to offer emulation for the M8 module and for the M10 module.
Oh, that's a very
Oh,
It
that's
actually
cool.
made it easy, made it more robust to actually look at both sides of it.
what do you mean make it more robust if you look at both sides?
So looking at controlling an M10 module versus, and then also looking at emulating an M10 module,
I see.
it just give me a much better understanding of what's going on the protocol on both sides.
Oh, cool.
So that's the plan.
Sounds good.
And by the way, the M10s are used also in other GPS or only by I mean, I was not aware that the chip was being used for it. So
Oh,
I don't know where it's used.
no, for example, if somebody has we cannot get the BE 880Q, then there's many other options with the same chip. If we have the same protocol, probably gonna work.
You'd have to look at the usual suspects like Adafruit or
Suspects. Yes, that's right. Suspects.
let's see if Adafruit has anything. They have a breakout board, but it's a different form factor,
Mm.
and it's out of stock.
They normally have their own form factor, their own
Yeah.
way of doing things.
No, this one uses the MTK chip, which is the MediaTek. Let's see what else they have. Anyway, yeah, that's something to look at. Yeah, so Adafruit uses the MediaTek. Try SparkFun.
Yes, SparkFun, since they supply they use, so in order to use this, they have an updated version V3 library to support
Right.
to support the M10 module.
They recently done that, or
No, it was available back when I first joined the group in October.
Yeah, because they've been they don't seem to have anything working on an M10. They use the M9 or the Z9 or whatever it is, but I suspect it also has a different protocol than the M8. So, oh no, Neo F10, which is there's a Max M10. Okay. So, but these are little boards with SMA connectors and everything like that, so it'd be very hard to use. But but the fact that people are using them is encouraging. That means that u-blox will stay in business for a little while.
Also, the M10 module has improved spoofing and jamming detection. I don't know what that means, but that, you
Well,
know, we'll look into
yeah.
that.
Well,
So might be good to have a flag to let us know that we're being spoofed or jammed.
well, generally, they're two totally different things. One is that for jamming, what they're looking at is basically just a powerful transmitter nearby, right? That's going to, on an FM receiver, you have an automatic gain control to basically maximize the signal strength coming in. And if there's a powerful transmitter nearby, it may cause the AGC to reduce its sensitivity, even though it's an unwanted signal, right? So it's called desensing.
Right.
And that's
It raises the noise
jamming.
floor. Yeah.
Yeah. It basically, it effectively raises the noise floor by reducing the sensitivity of the input amplifier. Spoofing is when you're receiving signals that tell you that you're in the wrong place.
Right.
And as far as I could tell, just from reading that short little paragraph, is if it detects a very sudden jump that's just not possible, that's spoofing. So you have to check on a regular basis to see if you're, and it would only happen once, because once the spoofing is engaged, it's going to be consistent. So what they have to do is detect that sudden impossible jump, like beyond light speed or whatever.
Right. Right.
Thank you for explaining. It's useful to know.
Yeah. So the last version of that SparkFun library that supports M10 was June 2023. So a little under a year ago.
Okay. And Jelle had some things you want to talk about, or?
Well, I worked on some small issues last week. I just closed one. But
Yeah, I saw this.
Yeah, but no big changes yet. So
Okay.
just slowly picking up issues.
Good.
I don't
And for
have much time this weekend either. So
you mentioned the async is going to be a big problem, a big project to do.
Well, it's not really big. It's kind of like uncertain how much time it would take. So
I see.
I prefer to say a few months, based on how many hours a week I could potentially work on it, and as well as I know there will be some challenges along the way, because I already started working on it, and I haven't really figured out yet how to tackle them. So I just have to make sure that the design choice I make in this library are like properly done. Like it still has to work, these the same or better, but not worse, of course. So.
Okay. Then we can always go back. I mean,
Yeah, that is true. So, we use the some prototype I can make as a test, and then if it doesn't work, can always go back. But I still prefer like the first version that we actually try and implement, because there will be some changes, so some additional work, and then if it doesn't work, I don't know. I just prefer to have it like kind of knowing it like will most likely work, and then we can start implementing it, or at least make a version that it's like backwards compatible. So if we just update it, it just works as it used to work, and then we can add like another argument saying this one is async, and then it works async like out of the box, something. That's the plan. So still trying to figure out like the good structure to handle those cases. So.
Because I saw the few times more happening when I was watching the output of the serial port, and it says, "Oops, could not," and then the display was not functional. You could not touch anything. It didn't do, but then it came back.
Yeah, that's only in fixed mode basically, because the API posting post request is like sometimes can take a few seconds. I think I set the timeout to 1.5 seconds now, so if it doesn't post within 1.5 seconds, it just times out. Might be a bit slow, but I think most networks are fast enough to do it
But
within
it's
one and
not
a
the
half
network
seconds.
itself. I think it's the API server itself. Because I
It
got
could be the
many
API server, yeah.
many I think errors coming every hour. I got errors because
Okay.
access maybe other people access it or sending data. But basically, the TD serve should take care of that. But there are 3 gateways in front of it.
Hmm.
That should
Yeah, I think 1.5 second timeout it's reasonable. Like if the server can't handle it within a second, then we can just try it again within 5 seconds,
true.
like the next 5 seconds. It's not a big loss if we lose one measurement. Although I could, like, I remember for the bGeigieZen cast, I made like if it couldn't send a measurement, it would save it and send it like the next time again. So we could see if we can
Something
implement
like
that
that,
again.
yeah. I remember the red note has something built in too, so you can save up to 50 messages. 50 messages it can send. Then they send them all in one bulk.
Yeah, is there an endpoint for bulk measurements?
There is something, I think.
Okay. If you
I have
find
to
it,
look it
or
up. But
yeah.
if you look at the code that Ray made on the TT Node, you could. It's in there.
Well,
It's hard to find.
like going through code to find like payload for a specific endpoint is not the easiest way to figure
No, I
out.
think so. Let me
So
just check myself.
if you know which endpoint it is, I can just use it. That's no problem.
That's good. Let me check it
Um,
if I can find it. I'm not sure. I cannot promise you I can find it, but I will try to look at it or ask Ray. That's maybe.
Yeah, I think maybe it's even easier to always use that endpoint. Like if you have like just post a list of measurements, and we can even say we just post every 1 minute. We do the last 12 measurements, like 12 measurements per minute. So that would also be an option.
Yeah, I can think about it. Okay, let me think about it.
Yep.
Okay, very good. We
I
have
can make
other
an
things?
issue for you if you.
Yeah, make an issue for me, please. Give me.
Or I can make an issue for both of us. Like it's basically one issue, but then you can add a comment if you know the or just
the answer.
post it in Slack or something.
Yeah.
It's okay. All right.
No, it's easy to keep them all in GitHub. I think it's very easy for those things.
Yep, that's okay. Is there already an issue for this? Maybe?
No, I don't think so.
All right.
There's about 10 minutes left.
Yeah,
Are
I
we?
saw it.
I didn't have anything other than what we've already discussed.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm just like I said, well, as soon as I get that module, I think it's supposed to arrive tomorrow. I'll work on the interface code. Yella, we were just before you joined, we're going to capture the choice of module inside the Teeny uBlocks library, so it will be transparent as to whether you use an M8 module or an M10 module in for GPS.
Yeah. How do you
And,
decide on that then? Is that something that the user has
well,
to
it's
configure?
the protocol version.
Yeah, the
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Which it makes it very clear. And then and then as you already heard, I'm going to emulate have two separate emulators in the debug tool for emulating M8 or M10. But I like I said, we can capture this the difference inside that library, so it'll be completely transparent on the interface above it.
So there would be some initialize function after connecting with it that
No, so for the code that uses the teeny ublocks library, they won't notice the difference. The interface will be identical.
right, okay. But then you still need to get the protocol version from the module.
But that's all under the covers anyway. It is even under the
Okay, yeah.
covers now.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
I grab the
that's
protocol it's one of the first things I do is grab the protocol version.
Yeah.
Right.
It even comes out in the debug messages. If you do a upload and monitor, you'll see it right away. That's how we found out that it wasn't.
Because the N comes off at 18, version 18, and the BE comes off 34 point something, one, I think.
34.10, yeah.
Yeah. So it's very clear.
Actually, I did find an issue with the teeny ublocks library. I
yeah.
was working on the satellite view, and I disabled my GPS connector for a second just to, I don't know. I was testing some things also with my own GPS, which doesn't want to connect for some reason. And I noticed that if you never begin a connection with the library, so you call like the begin function with the serial interface, then it won't have a serial interface like store which the connection is made on. And if you call any other function, you get an error, like basically a crash, like your device crashes because there is no serial port. So there's no checks on if you have set a serial port through the begin function. So I was wondering, maybe you can make a function that is just a Boolean saying like, yes, we are initialized or something like that I can use. If you use the ublocks instance in a different place in the code where it doesn't do the serial begin, because the other worker basically does that function.
Right.
But if that one wasn't activated first, then you get an error while trying to like call any function on the library. It crashes because there's no serial interface.
Because it's already been taken up.
No, because it wasn't initialized yet.
Oh, okay.
So if there's any function that I can check, like, is
Yeah,
there?
I could add a what's called an is connected function.
For example,
right?
or is initialized, or
Yeah.
is.
Well, I think one of the other issues is that we use besides the begin function, we use all these functions and they do return Booleans, but a lot of times we don't check those Booleans. And if we did, you'd know any one of them would return false. If
Any
it
one
wasn't
of
connected.
them would crash.
Oh,
Because
you literally are seeing a hardware.
like the device just crashes because
just crashes.
there's this
Oh,
pointer
without the
to the
serial port.
serial. Right.
So, I mean, one of the things I could do is have these when it's, I don't know how many, 20 or 30 function calls. I could have it checked that the serial interface isn't, have it return false if there's no serial interface.
Yeah, that would also work.
That works. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes,
Well,
I'll add that in. Let me write that down.
Yeah, I think doing a check if the serial interface is there, like if you haven't called the begin.
Yeah. That's one of the functions I didn't replicate, was called is connected.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Okay. more things we have? Because we still have 3 minutes left or 2 minutes, something like that.
I have nothing else.
No, nothing.
You do. I'll be sending out stuff tomorrow to kids, sending out other parts to people. It will be
Excellent.
my things.
Oh, right. You sent me a package as well.
Yeah, I did send.
What was in the package?
What
What can I expect?
you
You
will
bored
see.
or?
No, you get what you asked. I wrote it down and I sent it. I do not recall directly what it is myself.
Oh, okay.
You
Let's
asked
go.
me,
I'll just wait.
and I don't know what you asked, but I
I think that
Well-
was a bGeigieZen cast, like one of the new.
Yeah, I think I did that. Something like that. I mean, and
I guess that's
if you want a tracking number, I can send you.
If
that's
you
a
can,
good thing
yes.
about having a short memory is it's always a surprise.
Yeah, that's true. But it's a
happens to me a lot.
surprise that it's a surprise that it's showing up.
Yeah.
Like, oops. Okay, anyway, I think we should say bye-bye then.
All right. Take care, everyone. Have a good week.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.